I don't retire now. Sorry, was I crowding you?
Oh, no.
Yeah, so far. Oh, no, I'm yeah. Oh, the time? Okay. 26. Yeah. Yes, my brother's birthday was a Friday. Only one day.
Would anybody like a copy of the liturgy? And there's some on the back bookshelf. Back there needs one.
Uh-oh. I don't know about this line. What
are you laughing at?
Right, turn around, let me get to your back.
So, first of all, good morning to all of you. And there are a few people who are here for the first time, so I would like to welcome you and make the wish on your behalf that your visit will be fruitful. So our meditation this morning will be from approximately now for a little less than an hour with some instruction. Then we'll take a break and then come back and have an open discussion. So I hope you can stay for the duration. We'll finish by 11 this morning. Can you hear in the back? It's okay. It is let me start that over. The last few times that we have met, we have talked about, so I'll say this from my own perspective because I don't know what yours is, but the intention was to explore what I think is true that any of the meditation practices that we do contains the entire path to complete enlightenment. And this is not a trivial proposition. And there are some things we can do to discover that on our own, and we should do them if our interest is in pursuing the teachings of the Buddha. The Buddha is also has been quoted from time to time. I don't personally trust 2,000-year-old quotes, since 2-minute quotes seem to be a problem for us. But nonetheless, when we hear something, rather than merely determining whether or not someone really said that like that, in this case we can make an effort to run the experiment and see, like, does it make sense? Is it in accordance with my understanding, and so on. If your understanding can come to the place where any of the practices, the meditation systems, if any of them you can get close to and feel connected to, then from that perspective you can get close to all of them. Because they fundamentally all have the same basis, the same assumption, the same focus on our benefit as meditators. Normally, as what we call sentient beings, that is to say, all of us here, we focus on our own benefit. By focusing on our own benefit, we expect to get something from our meditation. And it's reasonable to expect that. In fact, one might say that if you have no expectation, probably you're not here. You're somewhere else. So to make a blanket suggestion that we abandon all of our expectations won't be particularly fruitful. This morning I wanted to say a few things leading up to the meditation, and then we can discuss those things after the meditation and the break. There is a teaching, a system of meditation which is called the Four Immeasurables. And these four immeasurables are called immeasurables because they are meant to be focused upon uncountable, infinite, if you will, sentient beings. Humans, animals, visible and invisible beings, not even limited to this planet, or even this solar system, or this galaxy, but the practice itself means immeasurable, like beyond countable, uncountable. And the four meanings that go with the four immeasurables are easy to understand and embrace. They include loving kindness for all of these immeasurable sentient beings. Loving kindness has the aspect also of the wish that all of these beings would have the causes of happiness and experience happiness all the time. And the second one then is immeasurable compassion, which we also all can relate to. So easy to relate to. And the compassion is, in essence, the wish that all of these uncountable beings would be free of the causes of suffering, completely free of the causes of suffering and suffering itself. And then we have immeasurable joy, which for the moment I want to put aside. And the fourth immeasurable is equanimity. Equanimity you might say is the spiritual equivalent of valuing diversity. When we bring our awareness to the practice of equanimity, we always find ourselves a little bit stumbling. It's easy to feel sympathetic joy. It's easy to feel compassion and loving kindness for everyone for whom we feel compassion and loving kindness. Our friends, when they're our friends. We tend to focus these high-minded attitudes on individuals that we already admire, feel good about. And herein lies the essence of the practice. Equanimity in the list is always the last item, but it is also often the first item that we need to learn about. Immeasurable cannot be an effective understanding from the perspective of I can have equanimity, I can have compassion for most sentient beings. If there is one that is held out, the whole thing crumbles. It doesn't work. The basis of the practice is that we are all let's call it ill. We are all ill. Being ill, we find it difficult to engage in any meditation practice other than I need to be free of this illness. But until we explore that illness and see it clearly and experience it clearly, we cannot apply the antidote. We are our own doctors. You can study and listen to the teachings, but no one can do it for you. We all want to be free of suffering. We all want to have the causes of happiness. We all want to experience unbounded, immeasurable joy. Most of us at some time or another would like to help others also. It's difficult to help others when we can't help ourselves. We try, and we get some benefit, and perhaps others also get some benefit. But sometimes we're told, I don't need your help. We're not always competent at helping others, nor are we always competent at helping ourselves. That old adage, physician, heal thyself, is apropos in this case. The practice of equanimity is the key to the other three immeasurables. As we have done in the last couple of months, or maybe it was the last couple of weeks, focusing on the stream of our experience as a meditation practice, without trying to manipulate it or change it, just resting one's awareness on the flow of one's experience, is a great approach to the practice of equanimity. Because invariably, as we put our awareness on the flow of our experience, we discover, or maybe we think we knew it in advance, that some of those experiences that are flowing by, I love them and I want more of them, and others, I want to figure out how to be rid of them. Culturally, we would say this is not only normal, it's sane. You can't actually improve things without taking some steps to improve them. But from the spiritual perspective, the steps we are likely to take are exactly in the direction we mean to get away from. Dividing our experiences up into those we want and those we don't want. Does not improve the situation. And the proof of that is, having tried that for years, some of us could say decades, it doesn't work. Still, after a very long time of trying to make things better, we are in the same river of experience, having the same sense of, I want to keep that, I want to be rid of that. Equanimity is not only the practice of embracing the benefit of all sentient beings. It is also the practice of embracing our own benefit. Sounds paradoxical, but actually it's not. First, we have to begin with the intention of exploring this practice of equanimity. And for most of us, the truth does not lie in attempting to experience equanimity in relationship to others. It's far more pertinent, far more powerful to practice equanimity in relationship to our own experiences. And equanimity here means, as we sit in meditation, neither holding on to the experiences nor rejecting them. So since it's hard for us to not hold on to things, and hard for us to not reject things, the practice will be to first notice whether we are holding on to things or not. The things are not what's important. What's important is our relationship with them. Can we just have what arises without the added analysis of whether or not we should have it, whether or not we could have something else, or be rid of this and get something else? Part of this is also the practice of contentment. Yes, contentment is a practice. Normally we think of contentment as something that happens to us. We are contented or not. How often do you hear someone say, I'm working on my contentment? More often we hear, I'm working on my discontentment, and I know exactly where it comes from. It's somebody else. So when we engage in our practice in this way of wanting things to be different, one of the causes of our discontent there is we have a false refuge. We are going for refuge, you could say, in my own benefit, in my contentment. I hope you have some too, but I'm working on mine. In the practice of meditation in this tradition, to practice and accomplish contentment is absolutely critical. It's not just a feel-good thing, it's actually a key component to successful practice. Contentment. And so we begin our practice always, as most of you know, by turning our minds intentionally from refuge in all of our worldly concerns, refuge in all of our worldly relationships, refuge in our possessions, our position, even our physical and mental health. This we call a false refuge. It's false not because some third-party great being said, don't do this. It's false because we would like to be happy and have the causes of happiness free of suffering and its causes, and that's not what happens when we hold on to some experiences and reject others. When we engage in the practice of discontentment, it gradually leads to more suffering. So as we prepare to engage in the practice of Shamatha, and we recite the liturgy, one helpful approach can be, especially if you've never done it before, is to understand the liturgy and the practice and the meditation itself as a way of becoming content, building contentment. So we'll start by reciting this liturgy 3 times together, which also includes the aspiration to be capable of bringing great benefit to others as well as ourselves.
Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness. Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness. Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness.
Now you can practice the immeasurable equanimity by sitting still, not speaking, and if there is no experience occurring, it kind of rises up in our attention, then we just sit still. And as experiences begin to flow, some pleasant and some not so pleasant, embrace the value of your own diversity. In other words, embrace the totality of your experience rather than dividing the experiences up into good ones and bad ones, or by whatever standard you might divide them. Just rest your awareness on each experience as it arises. And even if you're distracted, it is possible to put your awareness on that too.
By this virtue may I quickly realize Mahamudra and establish all beings without exception in this state.
So, we're going to take a break, but first we have some announcements. Correct?
Sure. We always have announcements. But what are they? First of all, we have a wonderful class series coming up. It will be every Tuesday evening in April and the first Tuesday in May in the evenings, led by Jeff and Sally Allworth. Are they here? Not this Sunday. So this is a class called The Care and Feeding of Your Daily Practice. So whether you've been practicing a long time or you're new or you've fallen off the cushion or whatever, this is a class for you. So the more information is on our website. But they taught last year a wonderful class on taking ethics, into your daily life and looking at those. And it got rave reviews. So Jeff and Sally have been practicing a long, long time, so I think it will be a wonderful class. And today is, please stay if you can for a little bit after the discussion and help clean and purify our center. If everybody stays, well, that would be too chaotic. But if about 10 of you stay and help clean, then the place stays wonderful for our practice. And if you need detail about that because you're new, see me at break. What about the building? I'm looking at Dora. We have, for those who are new, we have purchased a brand new center, and we are deconstructing and constructing simultaneously over there to get it ready to hopefully move into June 1st, May 31st, something like that, hopefully. And so let's see what else is happening there.
Yeah, I think we're always still open to looking for people who are like kind of skilled volunteers, as well as generally just helpful cleanup type help. And I think it's good if, I think somewhere it's posted Adele's, is that true?
Yeah,
on
in
the
the
board
kitchen.
in the kitchen,
Yeah.
Adele's contact number if you want, or if you want to let her know that you know when you might have time available, and then she can let the people know. But in general, they're working weekdays, especially Monday through Thursdays, and so yeah, things are really happening. But there's lots to do. It's a brand new building for us, but it's a brand old building. So the things that get found when you take the water heater out and then find there was a leak going on behind it and things like that keep happening. So we go a couple steps forward, another step back, and keep going like that. So any help will be appreciated, but it's coming along.
There's huge positive momentum in helping with these Dharma things in any way. You may be very surprised. You'll go do 1 hour and you don't know what that's going to do to your practice, but it always does something good. So doing these kind of things like helping clean here, going over there, have very large impact for a long, long time. So you can think about it, about helping create the space for the Dharma to be important for hundreds of years. And people who created this space that you're sitting in right now had that same intention. So the ripples do go out. Okay, I think it's tea time unless there's other, yeah, Brooke.
I can make 2 quick announcements. One is, if you haven't heard about it before, the Young Adult Meditators Group meets first Friday of every month here at KCC from 7 to 9. And so we like to say young is self-identified. So if you have any questions about that, you can talk to me here. And also the Sit for Mindfulness sit-a-thon, a marathon of meditation, which is happening in August, is still looking for one more person to join our planning committee. So if you have any time to donate to that, you would be great.
Okay, have tea. If you see someone new, greet them and welcome them, please. Or someone who's been here a long time.
Self-help.